Round 4 of the Ford Racing Australian Formula Ford Championship, and here's the way the track looks. Just under 2.3 kilometres in distance. Not a particularly technical track, with a number of high-speed braking opportunities, particularly at the end of this main straight. Usually get some pretty close action under brakes. We're on board with Jamie Whincup in the Whincup Racing entry as the cars get ready for blast-off. Will Davison and Will Power, though, boy, those guys have been quick. They've been a class of their own all year. Jamie Whincup and Christopher Dell start out of row 2. Dave Clark and Marcus Marshall. Good performance from Marshall. He'll start off the 3rd row. Andrew Jones and Nick Aglin. Stuart Costera's made the trip over from WA. He's in 10th. And Justin Cotter, of course, making his comeback to Calder Park, where he had that monumental accident a couple of seasons back. Good to see him back in action as well. 22 cars, the total on the grid as we await the start. Racing, and a brilliant start by Will Power. Didn't get pole position, but he certainly took advantage of starting off the front row. He sweeps across to take the lead from Will Davison as this big pack thunder down toward turn 1. Race 1, 13 laps the distance. And as we've seen all year, Cameron McConville, Will Power and Will Davison really have been a class of their own. They've taken all the pole positions and all the race wins.
Well, only 1/100th of a second separating the mark in qualifying, so that is unbelievably close. And these guys, I think, are really going to fight out this championship. They, as you said, they really seem to be in a class of their own.
We go on board with Jamie Whincup carrying our trackside camera on this first frantic lap. Jamie and his father Graham working very hard on trying to develop this car. This, of course, was last year's championship winner in the hands of Luke Youlden, now resplendent in its new paint job. Jamie's been getting better and better with each outing. Looks like a nice clean start so far. We go back on with Jamie, who's right in the thick of this battle, Cam.
Well, Jamie has done a lot of miles out here at Calder Park. It's their home track. They've done a lot of testing here. Now, this is the track where he should be able to serve it up to these front guys. A lot of local knowledge, and if you have good horsepower here too, that will definitely help you with this long front straight.
Look at this stream of cars as they flash down the main straight. Speeds well in excess of 200 kilometres an hour on the approach to this very bumpy turn 1. Jamie Whincup's out on the bumps on the outside. Ambitious move there, and problems a bit further back in the pack. I think that might be car 88, Dave Clark, all the way from WA. And he was having a good run in qualifying and in the opening laps. This cost him a lot of time. All this drama's here too for Chris Dell. He's gone right to the back of the pack as well. Meanwhile, up the front, and the battle of the two worlds, well, they've actually got some competition this weekend. Look at Jamie Whincup as he closes up under brakes at the end of the back straight. Very difficult place to pass this, Cameron McConville. Where would you be looking?
Well, that would certainly be one of the mark, and it's interesting that Will Power is driving very defensively early in this race. Now, blocking or driving up the inside of corners can actually give you a bad sportsmanship flag if you repeatedly do it, particularly early in the race. If it's the end of the race, they may use some discretion, but at the end of the front straight is the other overtaking opportunity, but Will Power's holding the inside line there as well.
We've got a breakaway here. Look at the pack behind them. These three are in a race of their own. Will Davison ducks out. He goes right to the outside. He's got the brakes locked up. He's run off line. He's gone out into the marbles, right off the racing line. Manages to gather it up, get back into 3rd. But that could have been disastrous for his championship campaign if he'd speared off and went out of the race.
Probably a little bit ambitious too. They're going right around the outside. It is very bumpy, as we've seen under braking there. Let's have a look. No, this is a replay. Looks like Dave Clark again.
So he just went a little bit hot under brakes. It traps so many drivers down the end of that straight. I guess the speeds are deceptive. Here's Andrew Jones in trouble in the Aussie Mail entry. And I don't think, haven't heard from race control any stop-go penalties being awarded, so I think he may have a problem there.
Yeah, I could just hear that there may have been a misfire in that car, unless it was from another car, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. But this is exactly what we'll... Oh, Chris Dell out of the race. Looks like a bent wishbone there on the left front. Small
in trouble as well down the end of the main straight. You can see that part of the track particularly is catching out a lot of these guys. But Jamie Whincup, as a result of this ambitious move, let's have a look at this in the replay, Cam.
Well, he was really out of control under braking. I'm not so much out of control, but you could see the back of the car stepping out, so he went as deep as he possibly could. But when you get on the marbles on the outside there, the car will generally understeer, and unfortunately that's put him way back, although it looks like he may have moved already up to 3rd position.
Here's Stuart Costera and Marcus Marshall. This is the strongest performance we've seen from Marcus. Keep in mind, he's switched teams recently. His car is now prepared by Michael Ritter, the same man who prepares Will Davison's car. And if you look at the performance of Davison, Cam, that's the only team that's really got a handle on this new RF01 Van Diemen.
That's right, and not many people really choosing to run the newer chassis, which is quite amazing in Formula Ford. Generally in past years, everyone up see a lot of 94s and 93 Van Diemen's running out there. Looking out the back, onto the front straight. Oh, a bit of a lift there.
I was going to say, he's probably starting to feel the pressure from Will Davison. Look at the amount of territory. This young man is taking off second place. Here he comes, fires out of that turn onto the main straight, carrying plenty of speed. He's gone out of view of our trackside camera, but I'd wager, there he is. Can you believe the speed of that car, Cameron McConville?
It certainly has some straight line horsepower, and that helps you at Calder Park. But going on board Jamie Whincup's car, he did have a slight lift coming onto the front straight, and when the cars are so close, a little lift on corner exit is just enough for the other car to gobble you up and pull out of the slipstream.
But what has really staggered me is how quickly he caught up to Whincup after having that moment at turn one. It's just been catching him hand over fist. Problems here. Further back in the pack for car 40.
That's Hart Mason there going off the... Now, this is a separate incident.
Tie hanger and a classic. Just coming in a little bit too hot. We've seen that so many times today. So tie hanger, I think he's going to be okay though. There's Jamie Whincup, who's dropped back to third place. Just got the short back and sides from Will Davison, who still has willpower in his sights and still has some laps remaining to try and catch our race leader. Should be a fascinating chase. Marcus Marshall and Stuart Costera still locked in this battle. Great to see Stuart back in the Formula Ford Championship. He had to cut his season short last year due to financial constraints. But good to see him back in the Formula Ford battle. A little bit further back in the pack is Dave Clark from WA, fighting his way back after that incident earlier in the race. Ashlow right behind him, and another incident.
That looks like Adrian McCurdy there having a spin, so just locked the rear brakes, perhaps too much rear brake towards the end of the race. Let's have a look. Oh, actually, it was a little bit of both, but it was the rear that sent him into a spin. A harmless spin there, probably the best place to do it with plenty of runoff.
Oh, look at this now. Look at the amount of ground. Oh, this is unbelievable. The amount of speed Will Davison has shown this weekend, not only in qualifying, he has just caught and passed our race leader on the final lap. Will Davison, this is an absolutely heroic performance. How he's fought back from third place and made up that amount of ground is quite a phenomenal effort.
And the car is sliding around a lot too. He's really skating the car around, but he's obviously absolutely on 10/10ths. But that is an amazing comeback to be third and probably 7 or 8 seconds behind the leader to come back. Although, look at Will Power.
It's a little bit out of shape in the final turn, but I think unless Will Davison makes a mistake, Will Power's been down here. Look, I see the car bouncing off the curbs. He's giving it everything. But Davison has just done an extraordinary job here after the early mistake. Ah, problems! Car spinning just in front of our race leader. Final turn of the final lap. Can you believe that? He would have had his heart in his mouth, but he's managed to survive. Will Davison gives his crew the big wave, and so he should. That was a remarkable comeback from a mistake early in the race. Will Power, he must have been absolutely taken by surprise there. I'm sure when he saw Davison go off, he probably thought he was home and hosed.
Let's have a look on replay there. So I'm just trying to pick up car 53. That's William Hall, and how close was that? He was on the grass coming onto the straight, then just kept the foot into it. And let's have a look at another angle there.
Whoa.
Very well picked up by Davison and Power. Very quick reflexes to go left instead of right. That could have ended his race.
Well, that's an outstanding performance by Davison and indeed Will Power. They continue to have a stranglehold on this championship. Jamie Whincup did well to come third. Costera, Marcus Marshall, Dave Clark fought his way back to 6th. Ashlow and Vayo Phillips rounded out the top 8. Tie hanger, James Small, Robert Jones, William Hall, Hart Mason, Jack Lynch, Adrian McCurdy and Nick Cartledge down a lap. Let's go to Grant with a very happy winner.
Well, Will Davison, what a fantastic drive. Can you believe you fell off in turn 1 and then fought back to take the win?
Yeah, I certainly made it hard for myself out there. But, you know, I just, once I went off the track, I just put my head down and, you know, we knew we had very good car speed here. So just knuckled down. My car came on very strong at the end and Will seemed to go off and, you know, had a fairly large lunge on the last lap, which, you know, fortunately for me it came off. So, you know, I'm very happy the Van Diemen and the Graham Red engine was just working unbelievable.
Well, Will Power, my question to you is, can you catch Will Davison in this race? Boy, isn't he quick.
Yeah, he certainly is quick. I think his car's pretty streamlined down the straight, and this is really just 2 drag strips, so I don't know. I bloody hope so.
Well, he probably had it right there. It's 2 drag strips, not a very technical circuit, but if you've got plenty of horsepower and you put the power down well, it can give you a big advantage around this place. Will Davison and Will Power once again start off the front row, sounding like a broken record. Jamie Whincup and Stuart Costera will start out of row 2. Quality Formula Ford field here. Cameron McConville. And I don't think anyone is going to break the stranglehold the 2 Wills have on this championship.
Well, they're doing it very, very comfortably, but they're providing some great racing too up the front, and it is a circuit where slipstreaming helps, so we'll have to see perhaps the Van Diemen a little bit better through the air than the Stealth here, but also I think good horsepower in that Valvoline Repco machine.
It is a noticeably lower car in profile, the brand new Van Diemen, as we get ready for the start. They're pretty evenly matched as they get the power to the ground, but Will Power, tremendous start. He just had enough bite to jump in front of our pole position man. Carbon copy of race 1. He's going to lead the pack, thundering down toward turn 1. Looks like a nice clean start. Jamie Whincup tucked in there too. Stuart Costera in 4th. Marcus Marshall. The rest of the field hopefully can tuck into line here. First lap, 1 goes wide, right out on the grass. Manages to gather it back up. So it looks like a nice clean start to race 2 in this absolutely gripping championship battle. Coming into this round, there was only 3 points between Will Davison and Will Power at the top of the championship table. And when you think about it, Cameron McConville, oh, we've got problems here for Jamie Whincup, and the field is going left, right, trying to avoid the spinning car. Fortunately, they've managed to find their way through. So that could have been a very, very dicey moment, but they're still sorting out positions as a result of that incident. And Jamie Whincup now has paid a heavy price. He's gone right to the back of this pack. As I was saying before, pole position is awarded 1 championship point. If you think that Will Davison has taken 3 pole positions from 4 rounds so far, that could be the critical difference at the end of this championship.
Well, it certainly can. When you look at the championship last year, Rick Kelly losing out by 1 point, I think, at the end of the day. So if he had got a couple of extra poles, it would have worked in his favour. But it is a very, very close championship. And, oh, turn 1 again, claiming another scalp there. Actually, probably didn't lose too many spots out of that. Now, let's have a look on replay. That is a very strange incident there indeed with Jamie Whincup. I thought he may have got a tap, and how anyone didn't clean him up there is beyond me. They all missed him very, very well.
Absolutely frightening moment for the drivers. Let's have a look at this from another angle. Oh, he hits the curb, does he?
Yeah, it started back through the kink. Yes, he got unsettled, and maybe the back wheel, I think, just touched the first curb, and look at that. What a save. A great save, I've got to say, but great avoidance. Oh,
look at this now. Swamping the field. Jamie Whincup trying to fight his way back. He'd be kicking himself after that incident. He was so well placed on that opening lap as the field flew up the back straight. And now he's got a lot of work to do. Here he is back in the pack a little bit more. Andrew Jones. He did apparently have some engine problems in that race 1. Meanwhile, Will Davison, this man does not like to follow, he likes to lead, and look at that aggressive pass on Will Power. I'm just staggered at the tenacity of this chassis of Will Davison's. He can place that car anywhere he damn well likes, on the bumps, off the bumps, down the middle, down the outside, and the car responds.
It certainly does respond, and it brakes very, very well. He's driving that car very aggressively as well, but you can see under brakes, he's on the limit. The car's moving around, but he can still do it. He can pass around the outside, which is no mean feat. Will Power's going to try it now, but I don't think he'll pull it off there. The corner is a lot tighter than turn 1, and also I think he's lost a little bit of time coming out.
Certainly looked like it. Let's have a look at this replay. Car 55. Where are you?
William Hall.
Now, we saw William get in trouble down at turn 1 on the opening lap, so he is struggling with this car around Calder Park. Hopefully he can get it home without any damage. There's the battle for the lead. Goes back to Costera in 3rd. Marcus Marshall in 4th. Here's the battle a little bit further down the pack. You can see, we always see this type of thing at a track where you've got a lot of top speed, Cameron. The cars line up in this aerodynamic train as this battle continues between Valjo Phillips and Jamie Whincup. They're wheel to wheel coming out of turn 1. But Jamie Whincup carrying plenty of speed on the McGale. He takes up another position. I was going to say that you always see these cars running single file down the main straight. They're just trying to pick up that draft from the car in front.
Well, they are, and that can help you a lot, not only in racing but qualifying. If you can get a tow, or they call it a tow, puts a big hole in the air, tow down the front straight and even the back straight, you go into game perhaps even up to half a second, and that's exactly what Will Power's doing now. He's right in the tow. You can see follows Will Davison to the middle of the road, but doesn't quite have the power to pull out of the tow.
Look at the bumps down here. Boy, everyone talks about this track, whether you're driving a V8 supercar, a Formula Ford, a Formula Holden. It's notorious down at that turn 1, isn't it? If you brake on the absolute threshold of adhesion, it's a very, very dicey place with all these bumps to contend with. Here's Jamie Whincup. He's doing a good job fighting his way through the field. You can see the positions at the bottom of your screen. He's not in the top 8, so he's still got a lot of work to do. There he is in 9th. So he's inside the top 10 with Justin Cotter behind him. He's just picked up another position. So Whincup is absolutely flying, but it's a big ask to try and claw his way back toward the two Wills, who are dominating at the front of the field.
Well, there was a yellow flag out at turn 1, so they all had to... oh, there goes Whincup down the inside, so he has made up another spot.
Jack Lynch gives him room. Ash Lowe, though, wants to argue with Lynch. Puts him up on the curb. But Lynch gave Whincup enough room to squeeze past, so clearly the faster car at the moment. Whincup desperately trying to make up positions. And this battle for the lead continues. Look at Power. Tries an attack down the outside this time. And look at the amount of opposite lock that Davison has when he comes out of that corner. You'd think that it'd be slowing him down, but he has an enormous amount of speed on board this car.
He does, and also Tess out here at Calder Park, a Victorian driver and Victorian-based team, so that's going to work in his favour, making the car ride the bumps probably a little more effectively than the other guys. Here's
the battle a little bit further behind those two. And got to say, David Clark has done a tremendous job to fight his way back into contention. Plenty of speed. He's only 22 years old, from Western Australia, former WA karting champion, another youngster making his progression to Formula Ford racing. Just before this race is finished, Cam, I might ask you, I've spoken to Craig Lowndes before about the proposal by Ford Motorsport boss Howard Marsden to go to a single chassis, like a control formula for Formula Ford. What's your view on that?
Well, I suppose really the person or the people that lose out of that is the manufacturers, and what I've enjoyed about Formula Ford racing is watching the different manufacturers battle it out, as we see here. Look at that, Will Power trying to go around the outside, and he's going to maintain the outside, but it'll put him on the wrong side of the road for the S's.
He's done it. Oh, what a brilliant move. Can you believe that? He was on the outside all the way around turn 1. And he looked like he was a shot duck being on the wrong line coming into turn 2, but he managed to pull it up. But Will Davison's not going to give up on this one. Final lap. Let's have a look at this move under brakes. This is brave stuff, Cam.
It is. Well, the car is sliding all the way into the corner, and Davison did a really good job not to force him out too wide, not to bang wheels. And here, this could have ended in disaster, and he gave him enough room to pull it off, so that was good driving on both parts.
Cannot believe he had that amount of grip out on all the dirt and the marbles and the garbage offline. Will Power still managed to pull off that manoeuvre, so incredible job by the Queenslander, who's under enormous pressure now from Will Davison. Time running out. And these two are so evenly matched. You can just throw a blanket over them in terms of their chances for the championship. It's going to go right down to the wire, this one. 8 rounds, and it's going to be a year-long competition. You can just sense it. So Will Power gets one back on his main adversary, Will Davison, as he flashes across the start-finish line. Well, they took one win each. You can see the battle for third behind him. May have been finished in Costera's favour. Dave Clark could have got up there, but Marcus Marshall will be thrilled with that. Oh, problems here. Vayo Phillips and Andrew Jones. And the Aussie male driver has not been in luck this weekend, Cam.
No, he's had a shocker race 1, some sort of misfire, and look at that, big damage to the left front corner. He's got up on the curb, ran wide, and absolutely launched.
Jack Lynch just got flung out of the battle there. Now,
now he's tried to make up positions and come back in without losing too much ground. And I'd say that Andrew's rotten luck started at the end of the back straight and perhaps brought himself undone a little bit there.
Well, desperate stuff on the final lap. 1 win for Will Davison, 1 for Will Power. Should be an absorbing contest, this. It's going to run throughout the year. Will Power and Will Davison, Stuart Costera, Dave Clark, Marcus Marshall rounded out the top 5. Very competitive race. Ash Lowe, Jack Lynch, Robert Jones. Here's Grant with a very happy Will Power.
Well, race 2 of the Formula Fords here at Calder Park was sensational. Will Power, what a gutsy drive to win race 2.
Yeah, actually, it was a tough drive by both of us. I happened to come out on top, but yeah, I knew I could only get him at the end of the front straight because I just didn't have the legs down the back straight. But, oh, it was a good race. Good fun.
What a war on wheels. You two were like driving side by side for most of that race.
Yeah, we did have a couple of almost touches, but we kept it clean and I came away with the win, which is really good.
Certainly is for the young Queenslander. Look at that battle. It really is between those two. There's a huge gap back to Jamie Whincup in third, Stuart Costera, Andrew Jones and Dave Clark.